What's your secret that you won't tell anyone? Outside Reddit? You/killer_cast responded. A few years ago, my dad's truck was broken into and he lost all of his rings. He had several silver rings, would take them off to drive BC. The wheel rubbing on the rings was irritating. Forgot them in the truck one day and they were all stolen. My dad is not the type to accept gifts, especially if it's a replacement for something that was lost due to his own error. Over the years, I've been slowly replacing them. I'll save up, buy a ring that looks similar to one of the old ones, and then I'll either claim I found it somewhere or leave it for him to find. I replaced two by pretending I found them in the snow while out shoveling. Months later, I left one outside our front door for him to find. It makes him so happy every time one is found. I hope he never finds out I am the one leaving them, lol. You/Tom_skeptic responded. Just about every day, when I am in the car headed to work, I genuinely contemplate just driving off and leaving everything behind. My fantasy is heading all the way to Alaska, living in a motel room, and washing dishes for work. I can't go through with it because I have people counting on me. Yes, I am in therapy. Edit, I got a message from a bot that a concerned Redditor was reaching out. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you. I can assure you that I do not wish to harm myself. Just experiencing the call of the void. Thank you, though. You are a good person. You/itinerant Avenger responded. Back when we were dating, my wife found out LD never had a surprise birthday party before. She really wanted to throw one for me, which I was okay with. Only one problem, it never worked. She'd try almost every year, throwing surprise parties for other occasions. Each time, as she was planning stuff, LD pick up on some discrepancy in her cover story, or pick up on something that a friend said, ask about it, and she'd be unable to cover it. Then finally, after years and years of this, she pulled it off. She was delighted and so proud that she at last managed to surprise me. She's talked about it for years, about how close I came to uncovering it. It made her so happy, and it was a lot of fun. Except what actually happened is I finally managed to be quick enough putting the pieces together to stop myself before I asked about the discrepancy in her cover story. Played dumb, pretended I had no idea. Acted surprised when the day came. She will never know. You/spaghetti with ice_ responded. I have the desire to just pack my bags and leave. Start over somewhere where nobody knows me and expects something from me, and creating a life for myself. I feel guilty, though, because I feel like I won't miss my family or my friends. That's a secret eating me up. Edit, I'm 18 and nothing is holding me back from doing so, just the fear. Just so you guys know, it's not like I'm leaving my kids and husband behind, etc. It's just the fear of the unknown and knowing that if I do this, my parents will not expect anything of me anymore, and I'm afraid of that. You/_Baron responded. My mother died in childbirth. I was the child. There was a photo my dad kept on the mantle. He's got my sister hoisted up on his shoulders, he's looking out of breath and nervous. He set the timer on the camera and wasn't sure of the settings. My mother is stood next to him. His arm around her and she's looking up at them and laughing. She looks young, happy, and very pregnant. When I was about 7, L destroyed it. He turned the house upside down looking for it. Eventually, he thought it stolen for the silver frame, toured the pawn shops and banned me and my sister from having visitors. You/Able Badger responded. I have told a few people. But it's limited. I am a CSA victim and my abuser made national news twice for the video she took of us boys, not the physical abuse. Police didn't investigate properly, and when I went to make a report 30 years after the abuse, the cop at reception was a hostile, rude, aggressive man. I walked out actually crying. The cop quit his job 2 weeks into his investigation. But that cop literally broke me soul. I don't feel strong enough to open up about my abuse and how hard it's been being let down by police at every step. You/consistent_pause_824 responded. I was groomed and raped over the course of 6 months when I was 15-16. He was a friend of a family member and he even took my virginity. He also took the very little self-esteem and stamina I had and left me with nothing inside of me and just my physical shell. I still regret ever getting in contact with him because I could have avoided too much. But I was a 15-year-old that thought attention from a 23-year-old would be right and good. Sometimes I still think it was my own fault because I agreed to meet up. He messed me up so bad. It's been 6 years and I still have trouble saying no to sex when I don't feel like it, and I can sense the other person really wants a BC. I am afraid people are gonna step over my no and just take what they want. You/Rosality responded. I don't like the name we picked for our daughter. It's a classic name that works well where we live and with her brother's name. I don't hate it by all means, but I would have wanted a different name. I couldn't bring myself to tell my partner because it is his favorite name of all time, and he agreed to my favorite name for our son. I am about to pop, and at times, I think I have not delivered already because I am not ready to accept her name. Edit, I probably should delete the comment, as it's not a secret anymore. I sat down with my partner and told him that I don't really like the name we chose for our daughter. We had a long talk about it. He had similar feelings with our son and didn't say anything as he knew it was my favorite name. But he also said the name really grew on him, so no regrets there. We agreed on waiting until she is here, and look how I feel about her being called by that name. If I really can't roll with it, we will look into different options and use that name as a middle name. We agreed on a different one for family reasons, but it isn't that important to us. Honestly, just talking to him about my doubts is making me feel a lot better. Ironically, I now have the feeling the name will grow on me, lol. Pregnancy hormones are wild, and all the good stories about names growing on people really helped as well. Thanks for everyone's advice. You/AsInvasion 2000 responded. I have written a script that automatically generates new Google Voice numbers, emails, and various social media profiles to harass all the people that bullied me in high school and those who sexually assaulted me 20 years ago. If they block the number, a new number is generated and calls them every 5 to 60 minutes randomly. Email-wise, they get flooded by infinitely generated emails regarding bullying and sexual assault that they have to manually block. Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, Scientologists, and a bunch of other people knock on their door all the time since they are signed on to their lists. Once a year, I'll update the information in the script if they move or change their number, but this will continue to happen to them until they die. That an idea to contact their spouses and kids and show them all of this, but decided against it because they were not at fault for any of this. /edit, thanks for all the DMs, but I would never sell this script or add people to the list for payment. You/Rewalt responded. From age 12 to about age 15, I used to basically spend every free minute I had on a 10-speed bike. I used to ride 100+ miles every Saturday like it was no big deal. This was the hilly areas of Pennsylvania, where flat stretches of land are unknown. So I had legs of a god and the stamina of, well, someone who could ride a bike 100 miles casually. Sophomore year, gym class, they made us run a mile for gym, timed laps and all. We had to do a mile in less than 20 minutes, so I figured fuck it and sprinted. You spend all your free time biking, I just figured why not. Crushed the high school's mile record by almost 10 seconds. But since it wasn't official, the gym coach asked me if LD come and run it officially a few days later. Officially set the record. I said sure, why the fuck not? It would take me a day or so to fully recover, but why not? I was given the why not. Later in the afternoon, I was jumped from behind, a bag thrown over my head, and I got my ass brutally kicked. I was told that if a nerd like me dared to run for the record, they'd break my legs and arms. I was kicked several times in the lower back. To this day I have severe back pain when it gets cold and damp. Went to the office, and they dismissed it as well, we can't do anything about it. We don't know who it was. It was the 80s, security cameras in school? Huh. Absolutely nothing done. They marked up as what can you do? When anyone ever says our school stopped bullying, doubt. I had a choice. Give up on the record, or spend the next few years constantly in fear. So yeah, anyone who says high school was the best time of their life, was one of the bullies, or lying. You/Karma Delivery Man responded. I know my wife doesn't love me. I have conformed to what she wants, cook, clean, bedtime stories for kids, pretty much anything to keep her content without getting any affection. I do it because we have 4 kids. 2 of them are girls from her previous marriage. If we split, and we almost did, I wouldn't be able to see our girls as much if at all, and I would only see my boys a few days a week. That is out of the question for me. My kids are literally my reason to exist in life. I take 0 minutes for granted every day since our separation. I fear what I'll have to look forward to when they grow up and move out or away. Edit, I would do all those things anyways, but if she doesn't do them, I don't complain BC, I don't want any reasons. I still present a good role model and healthy relationship in front of our kids. You/August Plus responded. This is a weird one for me. I was molested as a child, think kindergarten age, by a local teenager, and I did not tell anyone at the time. He repeated this behavior with some girls a few years younger than me as they also came into kindergarten age, and he was also briefly in trouble for raping a girl his own age. None of this ever stuck to him, and he has never suffered any real consequence. He has a below average IQ, but he is not so impaired that he didn't know what he was doing. He has a job as a store cashier in my hometown and once waited for my mom to walk away from us to wink at me when I was in my 20s. Decades later, he clearly remembers who he hurt, that it was wrong, and enjoys using it to continue hurting us. All of that, several people know, my partner and some of my close friends, my mom, now that I'm an adult. I always said I couldn't tell my father because he might hurt or even kill the guy, and I didn't want that. The secret is that my father does know now, and I deeply resent his absolutely nothing reaction. He's friendly with the guy's father still, and never said anything to him about it. He essentially never acknowledged or referenced it again after the first conversation. Obviously, I wasn't hoping for him to get violent or anything, but I thought there might be even a little righteous anger or loyalty to me over a man who knew what his son was doing and made excuses for him at the time. Instead, it seems like the whole thing made him uncomfortable and he's tried to forget about it. I look at him differently now, and I don't know if I can recover from that and see him the way I did before. You/Vagabond21 responded. I have a good memory and often remember birthdays and details of people they say in passing. People ask if I write it down, and I said no. Truth is, I occasionally do, because I think it's a bit rude to forget things people told me. While I do write stuff down, I may look at it every once and again. Another one, I told someone I can't recall meeting them, nor can they remember meeting me. They said jokingly, they must not be memorable. Truth is, I don't remember meeting her, but I do recall seeing her for the first time and knowing she was the prettiest girl in the room. It was months before I learned who she was, and even more months before I think we actually talked to each other. I don't think we were formally introduced, I think we just knew who the other was. You/Restretto responded. Never ever will I tell my sister how insanely jealous I am that she had the wedding I never did. This is not because she got the big party and all that hoopla, or because she had a beautiful dress. It's because Dad got to walk her down the aisle, she got her daughter daddy dance. There was none of that for me. My father was diagnosed in the fall of 2014 with cancer, and I was engaged that Christmas. We were Monday, April 13, 2015, and that Friday Dad was gone. I made the last thing he'd ever eat. French toast. My first meal cooked as a married woman was his last as my father. Gone were the dreams of the summer solstice wedding in my mother's beautiful garden. One of the hardest points was that particular year, the summer solstice was also Father's Day. She'll never know. Fuck you, Cancer. You/Texas 1982 responded. My wife is asexual and she told me she's never actually been sexually attracted to me, or anyone even. She did it because she thought it was something she was supposed to do. Now I can't bring myself to even ask her for sex, and when she does offer, it's always pity sex at best and worse than nothing at all. I'm growing to resent her because she does nothing except sit in her chair and read books all day. She makes zero effort to contribute to our relationship or even her personal growth. When people ask, what do you and your wife do for fun, I stare blankly at them and don't know what to say. I don't even know what her own hobbies are. You/Deleted responded. I'm so insanely lazy. I don't ever want to do anything. Ever. I'm perfectly happy just eating THC gummies and watching TV/scroll on my phone. I work third shift at a group home and mostly nap/watch TV on the couch while the girls sleep. There's only about 2 or 3 hours I spend with them when they're awake out of the entire 12-hour shift. I only work 3 nights a week, on the weekends. The rest of the time, I'm at home by myself while my partner is at work and my son is at school. I do bare minimum house chores most of the time. Just enough to get by. My home is just a little messy most of the time. Never filthy or anything, though. I don't cook. My partner is happy doing all the cooking. I usually do cleanup, though. But anyway, my point is that yes, there are things I do. It's just the bare minimum. The least amount of work I can do is what I will always choose to do. I love relaxing and chilling more than pretty much anything else in this world. I just don't have the drive to do much of anything else. I try to walk an hour on the treadmill most days, but it usually turns out to only be a few days a week. I like to take a nice hike on a beautiful day. I do yoga here and there. I go grocery shopping, but I am almost always stoned when I do so. I get stoned for chores, too. I'm pretty much always some level of stoned. So yeah, I guess that's my secret. I am a lazy stoner and am perfectly happy being this way.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you might enjoy the rest of my content. Check it out.